optional Java classified. Previous video I have shown you how to implement the security by using property file. In this video I will explain how to secure our application endpoints by using in in database memory. So for implementing the in database memory we need to create a project. So I'm going to Spring Initializer for creating a project. Here selecting the Spring Boot version 3.4.1 and here defining the group ID in memory in security dot in memory. Now going to remove here demo. Here also going to define in memory group ID. Here going to define in memory SB in memory. SB means Spring Boot in memory. Here also going to define or we can change here in memory dot security com dot in dot memory dot s dot and here we are going to define in memory security like that. Then it is looks memory security. Now it is looks fine in memory security and here also going to changing the description in memory projects for Spring Boot. For packaging we have selected the jar and Java version we have selected 17. Now let's add the dependency. So I'm going to add actuator endpoints, dev tools. Now actuator endpoints. Yeah, that is fine. Only three dependency right now I'm taking because in this video I will not add the databases. In upcoming video I will integrate the Spring security with the databases. So I'm going to explore. Here you can check all the added dependency like Spring Boot Starter Actuator, Spring Boot Web, Spring Boot DevTools. Test by default it will coming when we are going to we are going to create a project. So I'm going to close it, generate. Let's copy this project into our our created folder Spring Security. So I'm going to C drive. Here you can see where is security. Yeah, SB Spring Security. Copying here. Now it is copying. Let's go to our Spring folder project. You can see here projects are appeared. Now going to testing purpose I'm going to running these projects. Let's right click pom.xml, add as a pom maven projects. Yeah, now it will take some times to download the jars, dependency jars. Let's wait until all the dependency jar are not downloaded. I hope it will not take more times. Let's change the property file as a YAML file. So I'm right clicking here, renaming the property file as a YAML. Now refactor, going to property here, defining the spring colon application, commenting right now, application colon name, copying the project name, defining here, also defining the server colon port, here defining 7070, saving it. Let's run it. Right now I have not used the in-memory security implementation, so Spring will generate a default passwords. You can see and default username as a user, which is explained in previous video. You can see in the logs logs file. I will not explain more detail. You can watch my previous video. Yeah, now it is up. Oh yeah, I have missed the Spring security dependency, so I'm going to explore Spring security and need to add this one. I have missed the Spring security dependency, so exploring it, copying the dependency, or you can just go to Spring Boot project form.xml. Here you can define by own, defining the dependency tag in here, defining artifact name org.springboot spring framework.boot. Here I am going to define Spring Boot security. Yeah, now going to save it and refresh it by using load maven changes. Is- Stopping the application, going to create a packages, all the packages first one. So I'm going to create a controller config. In the config package, we will add the configuration related things like, let's create a class security config, adding as a configuration annotation. Here controller, let's copy the all controllers in previous created controller. So I'm going to previous projects. Here controller, going to copy three controller here and pasting in memory projects. You can create your own new controller, but right now for being I'm going to copy previous controller. Yeah, now it is available here. You can see, going to config here, defining the our configuration related thing, filter here, defining security filter chain, default security, defining http security, http. Now http dot authorize request here, request request that aren't any request matchers. Here going to define all the names. So I'm going to defining the login user, copying this URL and pasting in the Spring Security and defining dot permit all. Now going to define another request matcher. Here we are going to define which needs to secure. So defining the items API and adding the homes. These two API need to secure, so I'm going to authenticate it. Added here authenticated and is deprecated right now. So I'm going to create form login here, form login dot permit all. Okay, here we need to define the HTTP customizer. So we will not going to define customizer things. So I'm going to define the same as login mechanism, form login mechanism, defining form login here FL, FLC, FLC, FLC dot login page, defining as a login. This is Spring Boot provided default URL. Now going to disable basic authentication HTTP basic HTTP basic HBC here HBC HBC dot disable. I don't want to. Now going to return this, return adding the exception because it may be through the exception. So I'm going to implement in security, adding the win for creating injecting win this into IOC. Now I'm going to implement in memory databases. So in memory implementation in memory user user. So here going to auth manager authentication authentication manager builder manager yeah authentication manager builder here defining out. Now going to add the users detail here adding user defining user detail dot user dot with user detail with username here defining as a user and dot password here going to create a we are not going any bcrypt password encoder. So here I'm passing the nope nope will create no encryption or decryption required. So I'm going to define 123 or defining the root that will. Again I'm going to create another user to here user dot with user detail. Here I'm going to defining user to that password. Here also I'm going to define no and here defining admin dot build. Now let's add the in memory. So I'm going to in memory authentication. Here pass we need to pass user 1 colon user 2. Why it is not in memory user detail? Sorry, my bad. In memory, in memory user detail configuration. Now here add user detail manager. Let's. I'm not sure about it. Let's check user authentication manager. Here going. Oh, sorry, my bad. Here going to authentication manager. In authentication manager, let's check all the let's check all the available methods. Oh, my bad in memory. Just 1 minute. Scroll down here in memory authentication. So we need to pass configuration. Okay. So I'm going to here, here, new in memory security in memory user delegating where let's pass user colon user to why it is not tracking. Why it is not taking so much. Just 1 minute. Here authentication dot user detail with user detail. Yeah, let's pass here Protected here we need to define auth in memory. Why it is not taking just a bit in memory? Get user, set builder, password encoder here with user builder, okay, with user as a user dot with user as a user 2. Why it is not taking here? Add exception. Yeah. Now I have throw the exception and adding the win on the class layer. So by using user and user 2 we can access role-based authentication in this video. I'm not going to explain in upcoming video. By using databases in memory and role-based authentication we will provide all the information. So I'm going to run it. Facing issue. What is configuration issue? Void not be declared. Configuration bean method in memory user must not be declared. Hi, so I'm going to configure then. Sorry, which one? Bean method in memory user. So I'm going to here defining config. Now going to run it again. Let's check. Let not be declared while. Okay, so I'm going to define in memory manager detail. Hiding the return I in memory mail. So I'm going to return in memory builder. Yeah, here I'm going to define in memory manager detail and removing all these one and adding new in memory user detail manager, passing the user to user one, removing this one and also removing this one. It will configure. Let's check again. Yeah, now it is started. Let's check. So I'm going to http colon localhost 7070 and trying to access home page. It will too many request hi. Let's check again here. We are going to define the item. Too many request log. Just go to previous one. Spring security here. Going to configure. Let's check what is missed here. So disable form login processing URL. We need to pass login processing URL. I have passed here login page. Sorry, my bad. So I'm going to define login processing URL. Now I'm going to run it again. It will run. If you are accessing the API by using Postman, then you need to enable it. Or by default it is enabled. If you don't want to disable it, remove this code or comment this code. Line number 25. Now going to here and trying to access home page. It will redirect to login page, and if we are going to login user, it will goes to give respective output. Because I have not added the security in this API. I am going to access home. It will redirect to login page. I am going to access item. It will redirect to login page. So I am going to define the user and password as a root. Login it. Now I am able to access. Now going to define accessing the home page. It it is also able to access. Going to log out it. I think log out implementation I have not added. Yeah, I am able to log out by passing the logout. If you want to implement the custom logout page, you need to add that one in the Spring Security config here. You need to just define here the logout mechanism, define the logout and logout dot logout dot logout handler. You can use here and pass any URL like that. So right now I'm not using, so I'm going to remove it. Going to here, trying to access second one, users as well, user 2 and password is admin. So I'm going to try user 2 and password as a admin. Yeah, it is denied because I was not able to pass the URL, home URL. So I'm going to log out it again and trying to access again, trying to access the home page, adding the user 2 and password adding as a admin. Yeah, now able to access the URL. So in this video my motive is to explain the in-memory implementation. So by using in-memory implementation you can secure your application as well, but as a industry recommended, it is it is not for good because you need to add the username, password in the Java code with hard coded data. So that's why no need to implement this. In upcoming video, I will explain how to implement the security by using databases. So let's meet in upcoming video. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, you can subscribe my channel for further update. Thank you.